hope you're enjoying the videos so far. Yeah. Anyway, if you're wondering what's happening with my hair, you're probably not, but I just thought I'd throw it in there anyway. I washed my hair last night and decided to stretch it with thread. I don't know if you ever come across it, but it's Ghana thread. No, I haven't got any hair. And you basically use it to stretch your hair out. But anyway, this is not what this video is about, so I'll just now, and I'll get straight to the point before I start getting complaints from some of ya. Anyway, so basically today I want to talk to you about the do's and the don'ts of renting in Ghana. I don't know everything, but I'm going to tell you what I do know, because I'm sure it might help someone. It should help someone. Okay, I've touched on this subject briefly before, few months back, basically, in my video where I was ranting about Ghana. I seem to do quite a few ranting ones, don't I? Never mind. Anyway, so finding somewhere to live in Ghana it can be challenging, basically, because you don't know where to start. First of all, you know, being from the UK, if you're looking for somewhere to rent, the first thing you do is you probably open up pages such as Rightmove, Zoopla, whatever, and you'll look for renting. In Ghana, it's not like that. I mean, they have websites where you can see some things, but some of the stuff you'll find is very old, or you might see something that you like, you ring up the number and it's already gone because it's been there from ages ago, and it basically doesn't, to me anyway, it doesn't look like it gets updated or renewed very often, so you might have a lot of dead information on there. So those kind of mediums are, I can't remember the name. I know Toniton definitely is one, and there's another one, I've forgotten what it is. I probably should have researched before I started recording, but I didn't. But anyway, yeah, so there are those mediums out there, but they're not very helpful, to be honest. It will give you some leads, but not the best. Really, the best thing to do, I have found for myself, if you're looking for a place to rent in Ghana, is to find an area that you like and drive around and look for to let. Now that sounds really long-winded, but the reason that I say do it that way is it makes some things easier. For example, you cut out the agent fee for starters, because when we moved into our current place where we are at the moment, we didn't know where to start, and so I looked online and I came across a few places. I called a couple of numbers and I came across this agency. I don't remember what they're called, even if they were. Whoa. Sorry, there's a bird lands right on my window, right next to it. Seriously, I wish I could. Oh, it's gone. Damn, I was going to take a picture. I've never seen a bird like that before. Freaky. Anyway, so I forget what I was talking about again. What was I saying? Yes, I came across this agency, or these two men, and they said that they would help us to find some properties. I was like, okay, yeah, cool. We didn't really talk about the fee, but some people had said to me the fee is like 5%. And so they used to show us these properties. I mean, it was a nightmare, to be honest with you. Sometimes you'd set aside a day to go looking for properties to rent, and you might only see one, maybe two in a whole day. Seriously, you'd be sitting around all day waiting for them to call you to go and see if they can get access to the property, because a lot of the time, you know, these are just individuals and they don't have, the owner does not leave the key with them. So it's not like an estate agent where they hold the keys to the property if the property is empty and you can call them and they will open the property as and when you need it. It's not like that here. So they often have to try and get hold of the owner of the property, and then they have to go and get the keys, and then they have to meet you. The reason I'm doing this is because a lot of the time we had to meet these two men at a certain place, pick them up and take them, sometimes to pick up the keys from the owner, sometimes to pick them up so that we could all go to the property together, then drop them back, which is absurd. And then they would ask you for like a fee, like a registration fee. At the time, I mean, that was 2 years ago, we'd pay like 40 or 50 cedis to register with this agency. And then they'll show you a few properties, but seriously, some of the times it was just a waste of time. There's one thing I did work out though after some time, after seeing a few properties, was that if you're looking for a really nice place, you have to say that you're looking for an executive property. Now when you have the word executive in the title of what you want, it's almost like now they understand, like, you want the place to be nice. I mean, like, nice and airy. You don't want a dark house, that kind of thing. If you say executive, they kind of get a bit more of what you're looking for, because we saw a lot of properties where I was like, this is not in my description of what I'm looking for at all. It's dark. I mean, seriously, can you see us living here in the midst of this big bush? Do you think we are going to move here? It's like a waste of time. And to them, it's like, this property is hot cake, as they say. Everything is hot cake, you know? So it's like wasting your time. It's like, you just kind of want to have a basis to be able to show them, look, this is what I'm looking for. Can you find me this? But it doesn't work like that. It's so hard. And you might find that you have to sign up with about 4 or 5 different agencies sometimes. Except, of course, if you're looking around the Cantonment area, where finding properties is much easier, but it's much more expensive as well. I mean, Cantonment is right in the heart of the city, so there are always properties popping up over there, but you definitely will pay for them. They're nice big houses, I ain't gonna lie, but you're gonna pay some good amount of dollars for it. Like, I'm talking, for maybe a 4-bedroom house, you might have to pay like $4,000 a month or something like that. And for me, it might not sound a lot to you, but for me, that's just a ridiculous amount of money. It's silly. What for? When you can go a little bit more out of town, and you might even get something bigger for a less amount. And the one thing I will say about being in Ghana, the one thing that was like a golden nugget for me when my family came to Ghana, was that people always told us, never convert the money back to where you're from. So never take that cedi and think, actually, it's only this much in dollars or it's only this much in pounds, because you will waste your money if you do that. We used to do that a lot when we first got here. We used to think, oh, but it's only 5 cedis. 5 cedis is like, at the time, it was like just over £1. It was like, that's only just £1. Oh, here you go, here you go, here you go. And we'd be like dashing out money like that, and we'll be like, hold on, where's all the money gone? Confusion, you know? So never ever get it back. As quickly as you can, try and get your head around the city and understand the value of what it is. So it's almost like you have to treat like 1 cedi as £1, almost, in certain things. Obviously it doesn't work in everything, but you have to treat it like that and understand the value of the money very quickly. Otherwise you will lose a lot of money, trust me. That's a golden nugget for you. Anyway, I'm digressing a little bit. So for me, the easiest thing to do is to find an area that you like, drive around and look for to let signs. Now, what you don't want to do when renting is not check that the person whose house you are renting is actually the owner of the property. I've heard some horror stories, I'm not joking guys, this is really serious, of people who have handed over 1 year, 2 year advance payments for apartments, only to find that the person that they rented from was not the owner, and they have no way of tracing the person. And I'm not joking, it happens, it is no joke. Please, whatever you do, always make sure you know that that person is the owner of the property. I heard a story some months back about one man who rented the same house to about 5 or 6 different couples, and for each of them he took I can't remember if it was 1 year or 2 years advance from each of them. So obviously he walked away a happy man, and to them he gave them all, funny enough, he was so cheeky, he gave them all the same move-in date. So on the date they all met each other at the front door and like, what are you doing here? And everybody was like, well, I'm renting the house. I'm like, no you're not. Argument. And the guys walked away scot-free. No one knows where he is or anything. So, you know, I don't know how they get hold of the keys or whatever, or how they manage to do it, but it happens. So you have to be really, really careful when you're renting and handing over that amount of money. The other thing is, the law in Ghana is actually, if you're going to rent a place, it's 6 months in advance. To find someone who actually cares, a landlord that cares that it's actually, the law is 6 months in advance, you'll be very lucky. I haven't come across it. I know a few people have managed to get that kind of a deal, but it's very, very rare. Most people will say, if you don't want it, then go. I'll rent it to somebody else. Simple as that. If you don't want to pay 1 year or 2 years advance, that's it. And obviously that's a big chunk of money, especially if you're moving from abroad and you know you have certain big expenses that you have to pay for, because you have to get a car, unless you don't mind taking shuttle all the time. You have to get yourself a car, which is going to be a big expense. Renting, obviously, if you're paying 1 year or 2 years in advance, it's going to be a big expense. I mean, where we are at the moment, we paid 2 years in advance, and the house is nice, but what you might find is you might rent somewhere for 1 year or 2 years and then find out there are some issues with the house, and guess who has to fix it? That's right. We were really fortunate in that the way we rented, we actually rented from an agency. The guy was a really good guy. So there's some things that they did sort out for us. A couple of times the toilets weren't working, so they fixed it for us. But some of the times we've had to actually fix it ourselves. I mean, where we are at the moment, the house has got some plumbing issues, and seriously, sometimes it's like, whoo, what is that smell? And it's like the drainage. You know, we've had to empty the septic tank like twice. You're supposed to empty a septic tank every however many years down the line. I mean, and we've had to do it twice, and we've only lived here for 2 years. I mean, it's ridiculous. You know, they use like bendy pipes for the sinks. You're not supposed to use those flexible pipes because the food can't travel through the sink. I mean, I don't understand. So you might want to check those little things out. So that's the dangers of renting too far ahead. But also, if you rent for a short period of time as well, you'll have the opposite situation where, you know, you might rent for 6 months and then find that after 6 months now your rent has been increased. What do? You've got to pay the increase. So it's like you pay 2 years and you hold it for that fee, because 2 years down the line you might have got yourself a really good deal. But obviously if you're paying 6 months, you know, and if it could happen, you've moved all your stuff in, you've got comfortable, and now you have to pay a bit more to rent the house again. So those are the different things. So you have to kind of weigh up sort of what works for you, basically. What else is there about renting? I don't. Yeah, just make sure you check out the paperwork. Make sure agent fees are actually supposed to be 5%, and I don't understand why it's 5%, because if you think about it, 5%, you pay 2 years in advance, and you're going to pay 5% to someone who just happened to show you a house that they have just walked past, because literally that's how it was for us. Because the agency that we rented the house from actually knew nothing about these people, who they were or anything. He's his own agent. So literally they had walked past the house and seen a for sale sign or a for to let sign, and decided to share that information with us, that they had seen this house that we obviously hadn't seen yet. And because of that they got 5%. But I will tell you, we had a battle with these people, because they wanted 10% from us. And I was like, there is no way I'm paying you 10% of a 2-year advance for just showing me a place where technically you've had nothing to do with. You happen to be walking past and seen a for to let sign, and you've let me know about it, and you want to take 10%. I was like, no way, no way. I mean, we live in Adenta at the moment. We'll be moving soon though, but don't tell my landlord. Yeah, so we live in Adenta at the moment, and we rented for 1,500 cedis a month. So, and they wanted to take 10% of a 2-year advance. I mean, I was like, who do you think you are? And so I had a little kerfuffle with the guy. Well, not physical, but you know, I had a little word to word kind of thing. And he said to me, so how much do you want to pay? I said, me? I want to pay you 200 cedis, because that's all I think that you deserve. I've had to pick you up every time I've needed you, take her to the place and bring you back. I say it's not me, just me. My husband does the driving. I'm in the passenger seat, so anyway. I'm like 200 cedis. He said, and he was arguing, you know, we went back and forth. I said, I'm not giving you 10%. I'd rather leave the property and find somewhere else. I wasn't really gonna, but you know, I had to do a bit of fighting talk there because I wasn't happy. But I'm rambling now, sorry. So basically in the end, I gave him 5%, and he wasn't happy at all. They were not happy. They just thought that they had been robbed somehow. But I'm sure most people don't pay 10%. Who goes around paying 10% of a 2-year advance? I mean, that's ridiculous. An ordinary person can't afford to do that. So they should count themselves very lucky, as far as I'm concerned, that they even got 5%, because I don't really see what they did. They didn't really put themselves out, as far as I'm concerned. Some of you may beg to differ, but when it's your turn, you'll see what I'm talking about. Anyway, so just be very careful with renting. You want to make sure you rent in a place that is safe as well, because I've been to a lot of places that I'm like, where I've heard that people have been robbed, and silly things. Some people have been robbed in the daytime. I mean, I don't understand how someone could be brazen enough to do that. So be careful where you rent as well. Make sure you like the area. Make sure you go at night time. See what the area is like in the dark. Same as you would back home, basically, you know. Don't just think, oh, it's Ghana, it's safe. You know, I've got a fence wall. I've got burglarville, you know, the bars that they put on the windows. Don't just think that, because, you know. But I will say as well, a lot of the time that places get robbed, it's usually an inside job. So just be very careful when you're moving and things like that, just be careful what people are seeing, basically. You don't want to leave yourself too exposed. So move to safe neighborhoods. Like where we live, there's actually a man that patrols the area. And so sometimes you have to be really nice to him and say, boss, you look after the house for me, eh? Because like we went back home for about 3 weeks. We went back to the UK and I was panicking. I was like, oh my gosh, please don't let anything happen. Don't let anything happen to the house. I can't deal with it. Mentally I can't deal with it. And so, you know, you give them, just slide them a little something and say, look after the house for me, boss, you know, and they usually do. And we never had any problems. Never had a single problem where we are. So one day I'll do a tour of the house. You can have a look, but not yet. Maybe when we're just about to leave. It's a bit too personal for me, you know. But I would really like you guys to see what you can get being just a little bit. I'm not even outside Accra. I'm in Accra. Just being a little bit outside the main city. I mean, for me, the main city is just too choked anyway. It's just cars, traffic, everywhere, noise, you know. I want to wake up in the morning, wake up naturally. I don't want to wake up to Sako, Martina, 37, whatever. I don't want to hear all that in the morning when I'm waking up. I want it to be nice and quiet. The most I want to hear is the cockerel, and that's it. But anyway, I've spoken way too long. This video is going to be way too long. I'm going to have to chop it down. But anyway, guys, thanks for watching. If I have skipped and missed anything, feel free to message me, let me know. Anything you would like to know, let me know. And that's it, guys. So until next time, peace.